Good afternoon, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and start going on this webinar and let people come in as they come in. So today we're going to be talking about public sector jobs in New York City specifically. So this is really geared to contractors who bid in New York City, who are looking to work in the public sector. If you want to go after MTA jobs with the schools, courthouses, all the new borough prisons that are coming out, we help with that, and that's kind of our main forte, main focus. Now, I am Ahmad El-Sheemy. I am the founder and owner of Managed Construction, and I've been working in the public sector for over 15 years as a engineer and estimator with a company called Total Bid Data. Incredible company. I still work with them till today. And we've been helping contractors bid in the public sector, work with GCs, go after all these government jobs with the SCA, with DASNY, and all these different agencies. So now I created Managed Construction, and my goal has been to help contractors be ready for the public sector. I don't want any reason why you guys can't bid on government work. So we help you get certified, registered, bonded, and a ton of other things to make sure you're public sector ready for these opportunities. Now, in our 60-minute session, what you're going to walk with today is how New York City actually buys construction work, what most contractors never win, why most contractors never win public work, our 6 areas of where we work on for public awareness and readiness. Then we have like a 90-day plan where we go in and we kind of strategize all the things that we're going to do for you. And we'll go through that as well. And how we help you, if you want, at the very end to get, on top of these jobs and to find them and source them. Now, a lot of times I see contractors, they want to bid jobs and they have a great number, and they're not winning the public work because of their price. They're winning it because when the GC reviews their bid and reviews their company, they see they're really not set up to compete and to go after the jobs. They might not have the right insurances or the right tools, equipment needed for these projects. And I got to tell you, man, the opportunity is very, very real. It's beyond big. The New York City and New York State in combination spend billions every year on public construction between schools, housings, and NYCHA, transit, the trains, Metro North, Long Island Railroad, all the roads, bridges, and all the hundreds of city buildings we have throughout the 5 boroughs. It never stops. Every year there's new budgets, new buildings age, they need work, and the work keeps coming in. And the system that we have is designed for MWBEs. So it's made to help you smaller guys on these projects who don't have the experience of doing 20, 30, $40 million projects. So when there is a $5 million job or a $1 million job that bids, most of the time it's about a 30% MWBE utilization, meaning from that 1 million, $300,000 has to go to minorities. And the agencies have that as a prerequisite for them to get the notice to proceed. So our GCs are always looking for qualified subs to meet these participation goals. And as long as you know how to do the work and you're qualified, we'll be able to introduce you and get you on there, and we'll get you certified as well. Now, part 1, we're going to go into how New York City buys construction. Who are the main buyers, the pathways, and the portals to access these information direct. So every agency, is a separate customer. There's not one big conglomerate agency. You have an agency for the schools, which is the SCA, the New York City School Construction Authority. For public housing, it's NYCHA. We all know about the NYCHA projects and the housings. MTA covers the transit. For a lot of the state facilities, you'll have DASNY. So when you hear a DASNY project, it's either a state college, university, or a state-owned building. Another one for the city is New York City Department of Design and Construction. They do all the city buildings, a lot of the infrastructure. They cover a lot of libraries and other major used facilities. We have the DOT, which is all the streets, the roads, the bridges. And then OGS is another state agency besides a dozen more. We have Parks Department, Health and Hospital, HPD, DEP, Port Authority is a big one, JFK Airports, and the list goes on and on and on. So for the School Construction Authority, though, this is one of the biggest agencies we have in the 5 boroughs. They spend over $20 billion over 5 years. That's what the next plan is already on paper from 2025 to 2029. There's a number of projects for new schools, a ton of renovation work going on, roofing, masonry, interior work. A lot of playgrounds are being restored. And I've seen a lot of good accessibility projects. What do they mean? They widen the hallways and make sure it's ADA compliant. A lot of the main trades that have been going on are Prime GC, if you do everything soup to nuts, this is a great playground. The MEPs is in high demand, all the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, HVAC guys, fire alarm, fire sprinkler systems, all that is in huge demand. Roofing and masonry, I can't speak enough of it because almost every SCA school, which is about 2,300 public schools in the 5 boroughs, are made of bricks and blocks. So it's like all masonry work, and then they all have flat roofs. And now they're putting a lot of the solar panels, they're doing green roofs, so there's a lot involved. The only thing is that you can't bid these jobs unless you pre-qualified for the SCA and you have set up your portal login, which is something that we do. Some guys will look at a job, they'll get, and they try to be a sub to a sub to a sub, and it could be disastrous. You really have no control. Another major agency is NYCHA, the New York City Housing Authority. They cover all the projects throughout the 5 boroughs. They're doing about 7.8 billion over the next 5 years between 2026 and 2030. And PACT renovations. PACT is an insane program. I'm not sure if you heard of it, but it's something that we can set you up and sign you up guys for. They do insane amount of work on these housing projects, a ton of interior work. They have these job order contracts for 3 years, 5 years. You can go after whether it's VCT flooring, painting, mechanical, electrical. There's a ton of stuff on there, and a lot of people overlook it. But these 3-year, 5-year contracts can be $3, $4, $5 million worth of work throughout the 5 boroughs. So it's a very, very underrated or under the radar, opportunities we can go after. Another big agency is the Department of Design and Construction, 24.6 billion, and they cover over 25 agencies from libraries, firehouses, courthouses, some of the coastal resiliency projects with EDC. So they have a ton of work throughout the city. Heavy civil, utilities, concrete work. There'll be always GC, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. DDC is a huge buyer, and they're behind many other agencies. They actually work with other agencies. And once you're registered into the passport, you'll be able to see them and a bunch of other agencies as well. Another big one that we have is the MTA. They're over, I think now it's almost 70 billion, 68.4 billion over the next 5 years. And some of it's very, very straightforward, like we're seeing over here with signals and station renewals, but they're just doing signage. We've seen a lot of good cleaning jobs, power washing and going through at night, the ADA upgrades, putting in new elevators, a ton of opportunities in there. And the MTA has a really good small business tier 1, tier 2 program where they'll walk you through, and they set aside programs for minorities, MBEs and WBEs who join their program. Now, DASNY, also known as the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York, they have billions and billions of dollars worth of work throughout the state. Now, what we focus on, we're not looking statewide. We're not looking at jobs in Albany or Buffalo. We're looking what the state agency is doing here within New York City, Long Island, and Hudson Valley. A lot of good opportunities, but this also requires state certification, separate from your city certification. So if you have an MBE for the city, you need one for the state so that you can be going through the 30% MWBE quotas that they have on there. They also have a service stable veteran, 6% on a lot of their jobs. So it's a good place to find work if you qualify for that. And the buyers keep going on. Like I was saying before, DEP, you can imagine the Department of Environmental Protection, $3 billion a year they spend. Our roads and bridges, all those potholes, all those stuff. If you do roads, paving, there's a ton of opportunities out there. So there's something for everyone. So as long as you work in construction and you want to sell to the government, we can find something for you in that light. Now, there's 2 pathways to public work. Yes, if you bid as a prime, the first pathway is between you and the agency. So you have to be pre-qualified. You have to have the bonds. You have to have good track record, organizational skills, work with your subs, work with the asbestos, the mechanical plumbers, all the guys that you need to coordinate to bid on the job. Regardless of the size, there's always going to be multiple subs. Even if it's a $200,000 or $2 million project, you're still going to have some complexities you have to deal with. The other way, which is a lot of way guys start, is the agency bids to the GC, and then you would bid to the GC as a sub. So when the GC wins a $10 million project, and he has to sub out $3 million worth of work, you can grab your slice of the pie, whether it's a few hundred thousand, whether it's a few million, but he has to give away 3 million out of that 10 million. So when you're MWBE certified, you can go after those jobs. If you're not, the other 70% is still up for grabs. It's not like it's an end game to be minority or not. A lot of it comes down to the quality of the work you do, the price you provide, and as long as they can trust that you'll deliver the work that they want for the standards of the agency. Every agency is very, very tough and scrutiny. When you work with the MTA, they have their certain standards different than when working with health and hospital and other agencies. Now, a lot of the guys that I work with come from the private and residential area. That's usually where the bulk of their business starts. And then they get into commercial. And then they start seeing, there's also good money in the government agencies. You'll see a few of their guys doing some roofing or masonry work for a school or a courthouse. And, as you get bigger and better, it gets smaller and smaller. The federal is some of the biggest money. When we work with federal, like post offices and other different services they have, their pockets are pretty deep, and we can get some really good jobs out of them as well. Now, the work is all over. We have a few portals that we use, but these are some of the main portals that we have to get you approved and registered on. You have Passport, New York State Contract Reporter, ton of opportunities. SAM is for the federal work. The SCA, the School Construction Authority, has its own portal, sca.gov. iSupplier for NYCHA, MTA has this portal, DASNY has a portal, and each one requires their own registration and pre-qualification on some. So for the SCA, you couldn't bid unless you've done the pre-qual and showing them that you have the experience to do what you're bidding on. And that takes about 6 to 9 months to get approved, sometimes a year, depending on how complex or how many trades you're applying for. Now, once we get into the portals and we see the jobs, we have a ton of data that we have to go through. There are plan holders, who's bidding the jobs, who's bidding as a GC, who's bidding as a sub. There are pre-bid meetings where you have to go to the walkthrough. Some of them are mandatory. If you don't go to the mandatory walkthrough, you can't bid as a GC. You'll have to only be bidding as a sub, which is not good because some of these smaller jobs that are under $500,000 have a lot of mandatory walkthroughs. So if you don't go to the walkthrough, sub bidding on a $500,000 job is not really much opportunity there. Most of your sub bids are going to be about $500,000 to 750 as a sub. So when we're looking as a prime, we want jobs that are about anywhere from 1 million to about 600K, give or take. The next thing you have to do is build the GC relationships, which can happen at the pre-bid meetings. Because when you go to the walkthrough, you'll see a lot of the GCs on these bigger jobs. They are looking, taking pictures, analyzing the job themselves. And it's a great time to give you a business card and introduce to them who you are. So when they do see your proposal coming in a few weeks, they can put a face to the name or they remember you from the walkthrough. And as the more walkthroughs and the more meetings you see them, the more of a familiar face, the more likely, they know that you're a reliable guy, you've been around. After the GC relationships, again, there's a weekly bid calendar. Every day is new jobs that are bidding. Every day there's new bid results. So it's constantly tracking and following up on these projects. Now, the MWBE program is an incredible program. I know they threatened to take it away a few times with Trump and all that, but that's out of the question. Pretty much what they're doing is all the government jobs that are going on, they have participation goals. For minority businesses, women-owned businesses, service-disabled veterans, and a bunch of other DBE and other certifications. Now, whatever you qualify will help you and get you registered for those. The primes have to hit those goals before they can get their notice to proceed. So before they get on the job site, they have to give the agency a list of all the GCs and the subcontractors who they're going to be working with, their insurances, all the relevant information. Part of that is showing them that they have 30% or more participation from minorities. And once you're certified and you're in the system, you're on that MWBE list, and it makes you findable, and the GCs can reach out to you in that sense. But on the flip side, we actually very proactive where we'll go after the GCs ourselves and touch base with them. So there are a bunch of certifications out there for grabs. If you're a minority-owned business, if you're a woman-owned business, if you're both, you could be MWBE. If you're a woman and a minority who owns a business. Now, DBE is for a disadvantaged business. Depending on what area, what type of work, your staff, you can qualify for that. Service disabled veteran is exactly as it says. It's a veteran who owns a business who's also service disabled. If there's anyone on here, thank you for your service. We really appreciate that. Small business enterprises, anybody who's a small business who does under, I believe, a certain threshold, we have to look that up. It changes from year to year. 8A is a very good federal program. Comes around every few years for the application, but when we can, we'll submit and we'll go after those programs and have a lot of set aside just for 8A. Hub zone, historically on the business zone. And then you have the veteran-owned business, VSOB, and then there's a few others in there as well that open up doors for a lot of different things. Now, the right certification depends on four main things. Number one, who owns the business? 51% has to be owned by the minority or the veteran on that. What type of work do you do? What's your main trade? Are you a roofer, interior, carpenter, and so forth? What agencies do you like to, want to work for? Who's going to be your client? And the goals you want to go after. Are you going to be a prime, sub? What's your bonding? What we can go after in that sense. Now, if we do the MWBE, that takes anywhere from 2 to 3 months. The state is a little longer, can be up to 6 months. The DBE is about 3 to 5 months, give or take, depending on the amount of information. And the 8A, the SBA 8A, can take sometimes almost a year. So 6 to 9 months over here is a good rough statement, but I've had times where it takes about a year to get the approval on there for these things. And SCA is also about anywhere from 6 to 7 months once we submit the application. Now we'll go into part two. While a lot of you good contractors who know how to do your work, you kind of miss out on public work. We'll go over the gaps, what the cycle and the myths are. Now, some of the main gaps that I've always seen, these are like 5 gaps that we usually hurts you more than helps you. Not getting your certification when you should. If you're an MBE, DBE, WBE, we need to get those certifications again, give you a huge advantage over the competition. If you haven't registered for any of the portals, if you're not on SAM.gov, if you're not on New York Contract Reporter, Passport, iSupplier, you're going to be missing in the dark because you get a lot of automated emails that come from them as well that'll let you know the bids that are going on. If your capability statement is not set up, not having a proper capability statement can hurt you dramatically. They need to know a quick snapshot of what your firm is, what they do. It's like a quick resume of your references, previous work experience, put that on a one-pager. So we when we send it out and they ask, oh, let me get your capability statement, it's done and it's ready. Another one is you're not tracking, you're not seeing what jobs are coming out, what jobs have expired, who was the lowest bidder, if you bid the job on the concrete, you should follow up to see, who the guy that won it and if they still can use your concrete price. A lot of times you can definitely do that. And without the follow-up, then that's what goes into the follow-up process. Now, the cycle that I've always seen contractors get stuck in, they'll hear about an opportunity, they start looking into it, they get confused on which portal, where can I find it? They see on some random paid website, then they just stop and they don't even, look into it any further. And then they miss out on the time because everything has a bid date, everything has a due date, everything has a deadline, and then they get stuck on the smaller jobs that they're always doing, the little kitchen jobs, and then they repeat the cycle. Now, the winners are not the best guys in the business, but they're the ones who are best positioned. That's a key thing that we have to understand that, you might be great at what you do, but if you're not in the right position to get the job, it won't work. Now, here are some of the myths. Now, public work is not only for big contractors. There's a ton of work that's below 50,000 set aside for smaller guys, below $250,000 set aside for contractors who are looking to grow. We have jobs, we have mentor programs that they put aside jobs 3 million and below for contractors where they walk you through, help you get financing and work out the job. Another big myth is if my price is good, I'll be fine. Pricing is part of the formula. The paperwork, the way your bid proposal looks, whether the GC trusts you or not. He might go with somebody who's a little bit higher, but he knows he'll do the work right and get it done because he's worked with them a few years ago or he's heard good things on his reputation. We try to help build that for you by getting structured. And getting structured is not a lot of work. It's just being organized. You do it once, you have certain things in place, you'll be ready to rock and roll when the time comes. Now, the wrong way versus the right way. The wrong way that I've seen guys do, they'll randomly apply for certifications. They'll do maybe just the city, not the state. They'll look at Port Authority, but they won't look at the SCA. So there's a lot of things that you have to go through to make sure that all those are done and make sure you have all your ducks in a row. So once you do that, then you can start looking at the right bids. Now looking at anything that comes in your email. You're going to get 101 opportunities left and right. But if there's no structure on which jobs make sense for you to go after, you're just going to be burning time. And then you're calling these GCs and you don't have a structured system of, if I call them today, I send them a proposal, I expect a follow up. If I don't hear from them, I call back and so forth. So we have certain systems that we've laid out for our guys that's taking care of that. And then waiting until the last minute. Always, guys, midday, you want to start doing the estimate? We've had it for 2 weeks. So we have to get on these jobs beforehand, be prepared, submit the bid a few days before. So if we need to negotiate, go back and forth, we have that luxury. The right way is getting structured first, putting all your ducks in a row, and then pursuing the right opportunities that make sense for you. That's going to generate you a profit. Not because the GC wants you, it's because you like the work and you know you can do it well. Public readiness means that your company is prepared before the bid even shows up. You have everything in a row. You have a project manager. You'll have your insurances is right. All your stuff is there. So when you presenting to the government agencies, you're ready. Now, the 6 areas of readiness framework. So the first thing we have is making sure all your certifications are done. The next thing we have is your vendor registration. That's with Passport, iSupplier, and all the other different portals that we have in New York City and New York State. The third one is very important is your insurance. Now, me, myself, I am a licensed insurance broker. I do PNC, so I can do all your general liability, workers' comp. I offer an incredible bonding program. So if you guys are bidding any job and you need a bond, we have something called a fast bond program, where any job that's about 2 million and below, we can get it off your personal credit score. If it's 700 or better, I can get you a bond like that with one of my vendors. So if you're looking at any job, you need to bid. If you're looking, you want an insurance review, you want to double check, we'll do that for you. Here's the other one is bonding, which is very crucial when bidding as a GC. Next thing is your company presentation, making sure you have a clean website, a clean email, good company domain. All that information has to be uniformed, even on your LinkedIn page. Next thing is the bid tracking and follow-up. So you know when you're sending out information, which GCs you're sending to, who's not replying. Maybe you send the GC a price, he won the job and he's still not using it. Then we have to find out why. Were we too high? Did he not trust us? Did he feel we wasn't comfortable? We have to figure out what it was that we lost that job. All right, so for certification readiness, what we do is we'll review your qualifications. If you're a minority, if you're a woman, what neighborhood you're in, and we choose the right programs that match you. So we go that strategically. And then we apply once and we apply it right because we've done these applications a ton of times. So I know exactly why denials happen, why they'll get stalled. So if I see that preemptively, I'll take care of that before we even submit the application to make sure that everything is concise and clean. And then we have to always renew. Certifications always every few years have to be renewed. Some of them are 3, some of them are 5 years, but we'll have them on the calendar to make sure you keep your certifications up to date. Now, these are a ton of different portals that we have between Passport, SAM.gov. I'm sure you've seen on Facebook and TikTok, a ton, everybody's pushing that. But for us, we're very specific. SAM.gov is federal. They'll have a few jobs in the 5 boroughs, but New York State Reporter, OGS, SCA, these are all local to us. Insurance and body readiness. So getting bonding is really not that difficult. There's a few things you have to have in place. One is we have our fast bond program, which can support you up to 2, maybe even 3 million, depending on the job and the proper estimate you have. Now, outside the fast bond program, bonding, we can do a regular underwriting program. We can tell you, okay, you have 2 million over 4 or 5 million over 10, meaning that you can go after one single job for 5 million, your aggregate is 10. So before you even go after the jobs, you have to know what you can support. Now, a lot of new things are moving when it comes to insurance with the government agencies. They have something new, which is like builder's risk or labor law action over. A lot of guys are talking about it because of how expensive it is. Besides that, you have always your basic general liability, your workers' comp, your umbrella. The umbrella has also been raised to 5 million on MTA. Like insurance right now has been going through the roof. Commercial auto, which has been very difficult lately to get for some of our providers, and some providers are actually pulling out. And the builder's risk, which is the labor law, which now a lot of the agencies require. So this is very, very important to make sure you have the right insurances. So when you do bid that $500,000 job, you don't get disqualified for having the wrong documentation. So now when it comes to bonding, there are three types of bonds that are required on the job. The first one is the bid bond that goes with your bid, saying, I have a bonding company that'll back me up for this bid, and my number is real. And if I win, I'm good to go. And then at the award, what they'll do is they'll give you two type of bonds: the performance bond, which lets them know that you're going to perform the work, the job will get finished, and then a payment bond that everybody's going to get paid: your subs, your suppliers, your vendors, anyone who provides a service for this particular job can submit to the payment bond. But hopefully it doesn't get that far. You'll be paying your guys and they won't have to do that. But all three of these come from your surety company, which is us. And we'll, based on your financials, and it's made to protect the agency, not you. So the bonding is there. So if you were to default or you were to mess up or you pull your bid away, the bid bond company has to come in and protect your bid bond, which is like a 5% fee. If you don't perform the work, the bonding company is going to come in and finish performing. If you don't pay the people on the job, bonding company's going to come in and pay everybody, but they're going to turn around and sue you and go after you for the difference. So this is when it comes to bonding, you have two limits. You have your single limit, and then you have the aggregate limit. So your single limit might be 4 million, while your aggregate might be 8 million. So it'd be 4/8, meaning that you can do one single job up to 4 million, or a total of jobs up to 8 million. So you can have eight $1 million jobs, or two $4 million jobs, or any combination of that total up to 8 million, but without one single job being larger than 4 million. So that's how that works out. Now, capability statement. Very, very important to have it, and if you haven't done so, we can help you make one. It's part of our branding, where we actually can design a website, a logo, host your website, host your Gmail. What we use G Suite, and get you set up and make you look very professional. But a capability statement is crucial, regardless. You have to have your company name, your logo, your core competencies. So if you're a roofer, if you're an electrician, whatever unions you're with, what differentiates you. You're qualified MWBE, you've done a ton of work, you have good references, all your past performances, and then all your nicest codes and any certifications, and of course, your contact information. Another thing that you would also have on there, some references, somebody that can call, say, hey, have you worked with this contractor before? It should be right on there just to save them the time. Now, a credibility checklist is usually what a lot of contractors go through when they decide to work with you. And most of the 9 out of 10 times, it's a secretary who's doing this. She'll go and Google you, look you up, see if you have a capability statement in the email. If your email is coming from a Yahoo or your own website, is your website up and running? Do you have a working website or just a domain? Do you have a clean company profile on LinkedIn and other social medias? Do you have the correct trade codes listed to what you do? And your past projects are relevant and they have the right photos and you look professional. This is something that we do for our clients every day to make sure they don't miss out on opportunities for silly things. Now, bid tracking readiness. So first thing we want to do is define your targets. Are we going after small interior jobs, exterior jobs, site work? Depending on the type of work that you do, we'll find the right jobs for you. Every week we'll source them. We go through portals. We go through the different agency sites to find the right relevant jobs. And we qualify fast. We bid on the right one. So in a few minutes, you make a yes or no decision. We look at the blueprints, the volume, the location of the job, and if it makes sense, we'll start working on the estimate. Now, another big thing is a lot of guys always ask me, how come when I have all these bids I put out and I don't get any work? Because a lot of them are not doing the follow-up. You can put out 50 proposals, but if you only follow up one time and made 50 calls, it's very unlikely you're going to get that work. Our system has always been, as soon as you send out the quote, within 48 hours, you confirm they actually got the number. Just ask them, if any questions come up, you got the price, you're good to go. In a week, you're going to call the estimator, the guy who does the buyouts. Find out where you stand. Is your number too high? There's something you feel that's missing. Was it way too low that they didn't trust it? By bid day, you have to be reachable, because on the bid day, they might call you and say, hey, we got another number that's 5,000 or 20,000 cheaper, and this is the scope, and maybe you can add this, or maybe you can remove that, and we can, they try to finagle the number to sharpen their pencil. And then afterwards, whether they win or lose, I would always call them, say, hey, thanks for, great number. I see you came in third place. I appreciate working with you. And then call the guy, also the guy who won, and say, hey, we have a price prepared. We'd love to, give you our number and with all the variables in there. And that's how you can really maximize all your quotes to make sure that, you're getting the right feedback and the right understanding. Now, our 90-day positioning playbook. So this is where we build your foundation, increase your visibility, and then go after the jobs, the pursuit. Days 1 through 30, when we build your foundation, we do a quick audit. We see where you stand across the 6 areas that we saw before: the certification, your website, and all the other things, the insurance and bonding. We make sure if you're missing any certifications, we'll go after them. If you already have them, great. We don't need to worry about that. We can just move on. We're going to gather all your corporate information, your insurance, your financial statements, your tax documents. We'll submit any applications that need to go on for any passport system. We'll review with our broker and your broker any insurance you have, the reason why you're placed in certain areas. And if we can do better for you, we can. If not, we'll leave you where you are. We're not looking to change everything. We just want to make sure you have the right thing. So when we do go after these government jobs, there's no hiccups. The next thing now, once we work after the first 30 days, we'll have completed all your vendor registration. We have your capability. We'll have your email, your company profile, a beautiful website, and we have started a bid tracking system across all the sources. So looking for all the roofing, for all the interior, masonry, whatever trades you want to go after, we'll be sourcing them on a regular basis. And then another great thing that we do is we have built a great target list of all the GCs who bid in the public sector. We pretty much know who they are and the type of work that they self-perform and what they outsource. So being we have that data, we'll leverage it for you and go after the contractors that need your services. We have a structured outreach. We send an email, has your capability statement. We will send with the proposal, and then we run the cadence for the follow-up on every single quote. We make sure we try not to miss a beat. Our weekly operating rhythm, as we look through the portals, we find new jobs. The ones that we qualify, we'll estimate, we'll submit the bids, and then we'll follow up with the agencies, the GCs, if it's bid date, if it's addendums, bid date extensions, and so forth. And then we update the pipeline. Who says they're working with us, who doesn't want with us, any new jobs, any new bid results. We keep going and then repeat. Scan the portals again, look for new bids, new information, and keep bidding. And as long as you keep doing this cycle, you're going to get work. And that's the only way to really do it. You have to be in it to win it in that sense. Now, how do you guys keep up? There's a lot of new technologies that really can boost your firm. Every firm needs a CRM system. You need to know who you're calling with, who you're speaking with. Doesn't necessarily have to be Salesforce, but some type of system out there from HubSpot or Go High Level or many other alternatives. You need to find a way to automate your bid alerts. So anytime a job that comes out that matches, you can send it over to your estimating team, to your project manager. And they should be able to use some type of AI estimating or even ChatGPT or Claude, where you can put in just for a scope review. We're not saying it's going to do the whole breakdown of the estimate, but it can let you know that this job has X, Y, Z. And suppose you're going through every single set of specs and details, you can upload 15, 20 projects, and then it can give you a quick summary and let you know which ones are relevant to go after. Proposal automation. As we build the estimates, you want to automatically put on your company letterhead, have the exclusions, make sure the right date, the right company information, the right bid solicitation number, contract ID is on there. So that has to be kind of template, a nice templates. So every time it looks clean and precise, and you have the proper company image. All your documents are in order, all your certificate of insurances, your certifications, your W-9, all neatly organized in a Google Drive or OneDrive or some SOC 2 compliant server. And the payoff is you operate like a company 10 times your size, so you're ready for 10 times that work. Now, our framework that we have designed is first thing we want to position you. So we're going to discover what you have. We're going to assess the situation. We're going to get you prepared, registered, certified, insured, and bonded. And then once we're set up, we're going to look at the jobs. We're going to estimate. We're going to bid. We're going to follow up, and we're going to try to win as many as we can. And as you scale, as you get bigger insurance, bigger bonding, we'll go after bigger and better jobs over time. Now, 5 mistakes that waste your year is applying for certification For every single one that you see out there, instead of the ones that make sense, I've seen guys that have binders of certification, all these different things, and not a single one of them is bringing them money because they went after the wrong things and they wasted a ton of time on those instead of looking for the jobs that make sense. Going after jobs that you can't even support. You don't have the bonding, you don't have the capital, maybe not even the manpower or the expertise on some of these jobs. It might be masonry, but if they're putting in a specialty lion's head or some signa on the wall that has to be mounted and you've never done one of those before, I wouldn't go bid on that. Another one is letting registrations lapse. They expire every few years, so if you don't keep up with them and you let them go stale, you lose that competitive advantage. Another thing is they want to bid everything. Everything they want to estimate, and then nothing is being qualified. You got to qualify first, make sure it makes sense. It's a job that you know how to do, then we bid on those jobs. And then the last part is always sending these quotes and never following up, which will help you take care of. So in this masterclass, what we've covered is how New York City buys consistently through all these different agencies on all these different portals. And a lot of contractors, number two, is they lose on structure, not on price. So you might have a good price, but if the bid proposal comes in sloppy, or if it doesn't look right, or if they don't feel you have the expertise or experience to do the work from your presentation, you would lose the opportunity. Number three, the 6 readiness areas define where you can compete, getting the right certifications, the right insurance, bonding, and all those items that we went over. And then number 4 is the 90 days of how we structure and what changes your position. If you want help doing this, the teaching is done. Here's how we will work. If it's useful for you, the first thing we'll do is our readiness audit. We review your company, everything you guys have in place. So if you are missing certifications or portal applications, we'll give you an assessment of what to do. From there, it'll take us about 90 days to get everything done. And then number 3, we can set up your office now, your growth office, where we set you up with a business developer, an estimator, a project manager, everything you'll need to go after these government jobs and to bid them. Our audit is only $497. It takes us about 5 days to do it. We go through, we speak with your CPA, with your accountant, anybody else on your team. Once we reviewed all your certifications, everything you do or you don't have in place, we're going to give you a written roadmap of exactly what you need to do. And we're going to go over it with you on a 45-minute strategy call. The call goes up to an hour, no big deal. We'll review everything with you, let you know exactly what you need to do. Now, this is credible towards any services you want to do with us. So if we do let you know that you need to do your certification, and let's say your certification is $750, this $485 will be applied to that, and it'll be only $250 more to do that certification. So as long as you work with us, it's money in the bank. We'll use it towards any of the services that we recommend. And we want to do the audit because if we start guessing and do this and we don't do that, it can be expensive. We'll do half the work, and then when we start going into the bidding, we find things that are missing. So we want to find out what's missing first and get that done. Now, your public work readiness sprint can start at $750. So depending on what your audit determines, what you actually need. So if you just need one certification and it's only a $700 certification, that's what we're going to charge you. I'm not going to charge you for things you don't need. But if you need a website, you need all these other different things, it can be a few hundred to a few thousand, depending on what the package is. And of course, we'll work with you on payment plans and so forth. But the original $497 would also be credited towards that package once we figure out. Now, once all your ducks in a row and everything is in there, we can start building your office where we give you a dedicated business developer starting at $2,500 a month, who's going to be going through all these bid tracking, reaching out to the GCs on your behalf, sending out your capability statements, setting up meetings with you and these contractors. That's kind of our main goal, is to get you in front of these guys, let them build the trust, and we start giving them proposals, follow up on the proposals, making sure that every proposal is maximized. So if a GC requests a price, we give it to all his competitors as well. We're not just sticking to one GC. Everybody bidding that job is going to get that number. And then we're going to follow up with them, make sure they got the price. And then when the job bids, we follow up with the lowest bidder. And you get weekly reports, monthly strategy calls. If you want to go after certain type of jobs, avoid certain GCs you've had bad experiences with, all that is discussed together, and we're on your team. And this is for people who have already have everything established on their own, or if they've gone through our graduate or readiness program, the 90 days. This is where we work with you guys on this. Now, Our system is not for everybody. It is for contractors who want to work in public sector. They need help getting structured, organized, and set up. It's not for guys who are looking for guaranteed wins, and you definitely have to get me stuff. You're not willing to even work with me by providing the proper documentation, holding out on information, and you just want everything to be done quick and short and not participate in the game. We're in this together. We're going to work together. You're going to have assignments. I'm going to have assignments. We have to get this done in order to get into public sector. And I'm going to help you grow your team. My goal is not to be with you forever. My goal is to get you situated, get you positioned, hire the right people, and then let you fly. And then you come back to me anytime you need help, anytime you need references, anytime you need anything. I'm here to support you, indefinitely. Now, what we do guarantee is that we were going to give you structured guidance and proper preparation. We don't guarantee that every certification you're going to get approved for, every bonding you're going to get approved for. Some insurance agencies, they might not be providing unlimited height or things that we need. Every agency might not accept you if you have some liens on you, or if you have some child support. There's many things that can negate you from being able to bid on some of these jobs. So that's when we go through the order and we make sure everything's fine. We'll let you know what works and what doesn't work. And a year from now, working with us or not working with us, you'll be confused about what to do, where to even begin. But with us, we have everything. You'll have to be certified, you'll be registered, you'll have all your websites, all your LinkedIn, all your professional social media, everything done right and towards and geared towards the public sector, and a real system working towards getting real work and real value. Now, here's a QR code if you want to book your audit, so we can sit down with you one-on-one. You can scan this on your phone, or take a screenshot, or you can go to our website, managedconstruction.co/audit. And here's my information. Again, my name is Ahmad El-Sheemy. My email is ahmad@managedconstruction.co. My direct office line, 212-812-2219. My cell phone is 917-719-0973. Text me, call me, reach me anytime.